The first thing anybody new to the gym should learn is how to perform the main functional movements of the human body. But what are functional movements? Definitions will vary, but they are basically the main compound movements that every able-bodied human being should be able to do. A compound movement means it uses multiple joints, like a squat. On the other hand, an isolation movement would mean it uses one joint, like a bicep curl. Most movements in the gym are just a variation of one of the 6 main functional movements. Let's go back to that squat example. Once I teach you a bodyweight squat, you know how to perform every single type of squat. A goblet squat, a back squat, a front squat, etc. So, once I teach you the basics of functional movement, you now know how to perform almost every movement in the gym. So without further ado, let's go over all 6 main functional movements. We've got the squat, the hinge, the horizontal push, the horizontal pull, the vertical push, and the vertical pull. So first, let's start with a squat. I'm going to have you mirror me at home. We're going to start with our feet. Our feet are going to be a little bit wider than shoulder width apart. Toes can be slightly turned out, but for the most part, we want them pretty forward. It depends how your hips are built. Everyone's hips are built different, so some people have just different stances. We're going to think of our feet as tripods. Our big toe is 0.1, our little toe is 0.2, and our heel is 0.3. We're going to be balanced over the middle of them, so our toes are not coming up and our heels are not coming up. Now, a common issue in squats is people's knees caving in. Sometimes that's a weak muscle, but sometimes it's just something in their head that they need to think about. So what I want you to think about is just kind of screwing your feet into the ground. Not so hard that your inside of your foot comes up, but just enough to keep the knees from caving in. So the first movement in a squat is not our knees first. The glutes are the main motors of our legs. So we're going to load our glutes first. Have you ever heard knees over your toes is bad for your knees? Complete myth. Your knees should track over your toes. It really has just a lot to do with your calf mobility, okay? So we load our glutes first, but then we're just squatting straight down. Knees are driving out and forward, and we're just squatting straight down, okay? Now, before we squat, we're gonna go over how to breathe correctly, okay? So we never want our spine bending while it's under a load. Like, let's say we have a bar on our back. You don't want your spine bending with a bar on your back. That's how you get a disc injury, okay? So we take a breath in and we hold that breath into our stomach in order to brace our core and not let our spine bend, okay? Now, a bad example would be breathing into the chest. So I don't want you to go like this. Now we're not in a neutral spine and you're gonna be really limited in your mobility, okay? So we also don't wanna be rounded either. We just want a neutral spine right here, just standing tall. And then we're going to breathe into our stomach like we're about to get hit in the stomach, okay? So breath into the stomach, and then we're gonna hold that breath through the bottom of our squat, and we're not breathing out until we come up, okay? Now you can mirror me, okay? So we're gonna go arms out for balance right here. We're gonna take that breath into the stomach. We're gonna lead with our hips, and we're just squatting straight down, okay? So breath in, breath out. Now, like I said, all squats are pretty much the same. They're all a little different, but this one's just the same. We're going to now hold a dumbbell in front of our chest instead of having our arms out for balance. This is a goblet squat, okay? Everything is the same right here. Big breath in, breath out. If we had a bar on our back, everything's the same. We don't want to have an arched back. We still want that neutral spine. We're just right here. Big breath in and breath out. That's how you squat. Now, again, you guys are going to mirror me, but this time we're going over our hinging motion. It looks a lot like a squat to a beginner, but it's a totally different motion, okay? So this time, feet are going to be narrow right under our hips and toes are facing completely forward, okay? Now on this one, our knees do not go forward. Our knees are not going forward whatsoever. Same breathing pattern into our stomach, okay? We're not breathing into our chest. We're not arched back, okay? Neutral spine, breath into the stomach like we're going to get punched in the stomach, okay? And we're holding that breath once again through the bottom and then breathing out on the way up, okay? Now, the specific hinge that I'm teaching you right now is a Romanian deadlift, okay? This is one of the first hinges that I teach my new clients, okay? This is a very hamstring-focused movement. Like I said, the knees are not going forward, so we have to drive our butt backward, and the knees are just soft to allow our butt to go backward, okay? We're, again, keeping that neutral spine. Let's pretend I have dumbbells in my hand, okay? If I'm lowering these dumbbells, I can only get to about here, and we're only going till we feel that stretch in our hamstrings. To get any lower, I would have to round my back, okay? We never want to round our back under a load. That's when you're going to get hurt, okay? There is no correct depth to this movement. I have some people that are not flexible at all, so they drive their butt back. Let's say I have these dumbbells in my hand, and they might feel a stretch right at their knees, and they're not going to go any lower than that, okay? I have some dancer girls that are clients, and they can get all the way down to their ankles with a flat back. I can't do this, but they can get all the way down to their ankles with a flat back, and that's when they start feeling the stretch. There is no correct depth to this movement. It's when you feel the stretch yourself, okay? It depends on your mobility. Now, one way you know you did this movement wrong is if these weights get away from you. That means instead of driving your butt backward, you just bent over out here, okay? Now, let me say this about any deadlift motion. Now, we have this midline in our body right about here. This is where our center of gravity is. The further away these weights get away from that midline in our body, the more pressure that's putting in your lower back, okay? So that's why you don't want these weights getting out here. That's when back injuries happen. That is going to force you to drive your butt backward to keep these weights close to you. I'm literally pulling these weights into my body, okay? So I'm going to demonstrate one for you right now with some actual dumbbells. So we're thinking big chest, neutral spine, flat back, okay? Driving our butt backward, and I'm pulling these dumbbells into my body just until I feel that stretch, and then we're coming up, okay? Big breath in, feel the stretch, breath out. That's your hinging motion right there. All right, y'all, so now we are going over our horizontal push motion right here, okay? This is your push-ups and bench press and anything in between, you'll see. So first we're gonna go over regular push-ups, okay? So first we're gonna go over push-ups, and I'm gonna teach you guys something right now. Right now I'm gonna have Christian pretend like I'm a bad guy and push me away in the chest to get me away from him, all right? So naturally, you guys saw his elbows were down here, okay? They weren't up here. This is super dangerous for your shoulders, okay? Naturally, he pushed me like this because this is the natural way human beings push horizontally. Okay. Now, technically, elbows tight to the body is actually safe as well. That would be like a close grip push-up or bench press. It's just a little bit harder. There's nothing unsafe about it. It's just harder. But that 45-degree angle to our body is our optimal pushing motion, all right? So I'm going to go teach you guys a modified push-up right here against the Smith machine. So if you're starting out with push-ups for your first time, a Smith machine is a great place to start. You can adjust the bar to make it easier up here or lower it to make it a little harder. What we're going to do, we're going to grab this bar. Okay, we're going to think about breaking the bar. That's going to get our elbows into position, okay? And that bar should touch about mid to lower chest, okay? It shouldn't be up here. That's going to bring the elbows up. And it shouldn't be down here. It's going to be awkward, okay? So we're going to grab that bar, think about breaking it to get our elbows into place. And we have to have our feet in the right position, okay? If I walk my feet too far backward, that bar is going to come way up high on my chest, okay? So it should be a little lower on my chest right here. Elbows are in position. Bar should touch mid to lower chest and back, okay? Eventually, you start bringing it down to the ground, and you're just doing push-ups on the ground, same position with your elbows at 45 degrees. Now, bench press is a little bit different. Let's go over that. So if you guys notice on push-ups, when you're doing push-ups, your shoulder blades actually move with your arms, okay? So when my arms are extended, my shoulder blades spread apart. When my arms come back here, my shoulder blades pinch together, okay? They come apart, they pinch together. Now, with a push-up, nothing is touching our back, so nothing's messing up our shoulder blades. But now, when we're laying down on a bench press, this board can really mess up that natural motion of our shoulder blades. They kind of move in like a clockwise, counterclockwise motion with our arms, okay? And you got this weight pinning you down on that bench, so it's kind of stopping the motion of your shoulder blades. So what we do with a bench press is we pinch our shoulder blades together right here, and we only press to right here and extend our elbows. We don't let those shoulder blades come apart the whole time. They stay pinched together the whole time. We're really arching the back and sticking our chest out and only extending the elbows, okay? We don't let those shoulder blades come apart. Now, let me teach you how to completely set up for a bench press. So you want 5 points of contact. Feet are 1 and 2. Our butt is 3. Our upper back is 4, and our head is 5. Your eyes should be just about under the bar or maybe a little bit away from the bar. And then before we unrack that bar, we're going to get our shoulder blades real tight together, okay? And we're really arching the back. So if you look at me from the side, you can see my butt's on the bench, my upper back is on the bench, but because I'm arching my back, I can easily fit my hand under my low back, okay? Shoulder blades are going to stay tight the whole time. We're going to get a comfortable grip, not too wide, not too narrow. And then unrack and don't lower it until you bring it out over your chest first. Okay, once again, we're thinking about breaking the bar to get our elbows into place. And then we're just lowering slowly, touching mid to lower chest. And we're only pressing to right there and extending the elbows, okay? We're not pressing all the way to there and losing that arch in our back. So what I just taught you applies to every single type of bench press or every type of horizontal press with something touching our back. It could be flat bench press, incline bench press, dumbbell bench press, seated bench press machines. Anytime something is touching your back and we're horizontal pressing or at a slightly different angle, our shoulder blades stay tight and we don't let them come apart the whole time. All right, so now let's go over our vertical pressing motion, our shoulder presses, okay? So I'm gonna go over it with a dumbbell with you, but again, same thing goes for a barbell, dumbbells, seated, standing. They're all pretty much the same, okay? So we're gonna take one dumbbell. We're gonna make sure our wrist and elbow are under the weight, okay? We don't wanna be holding it all weird like that, or wanna have our wrist and elbow stacked under the weight. And then I don't care if your elbow is in front of you or to the side or anywhere in between, whatever's comfortable for your shoulders. Now, the main issue with vertical pressing is people think they're vertical pressing, but really they're out in front of them, okay? This is vertical. The bicep should be right by the ear, okay? It almost feels like I'm pressing a little bit backward right here, okay? So that's just the main key with vertical pressing. We want to make sure we're actually pressing vertical, all right? So whether you are seated with both dumbbells or standing with one dumbbell or standing with both or using a barbell, it's all the same. We want to have our wrist and elbow under the weight and we want to make sure we're actually pressing vertical. We're not just pressing out in front of us, okay? All right, so now let's go over our vertical pulling motion. Just so you guys know, any pulling motion is working our back muscles, okay? That's vertical pulls or horizontal pulls, okay? I explain that because naturally in life, our shoulders tend with age to start sagging this way, and keeping our back strong is gonna keep you guys in a good posture, and your shoulder literally has more room to move in the socket when it's in the right position rather than when you're here. It has less room to move, okay? So we want to prioritize our back a little bit more than our push muscles, okay? So we're going to go over vertical pull. This is our pull-ups. This is our lat pull-down. Sometimes we're gripping with our palms facing away. Sometimes we'll grip with our palms facing each other. Sometimes we'll grip with our palms facing our face. But we're just going to go over a regular lat pull-down right now with our palms facing away. There's really not much to this movement. Really, all I want you guys to do is kind of stick your chest out and arch your back. And then we really just need to make sure we're only pulling below the chin, okay? So let me show you guys from the side. So we're gonna grip this bar. We're not gonna go much wider than the bends in the bar, okay? That's for like really tall people, any wider than that. We're gonna sink down and get our knees under this pad. And then again, chest out. We're gonna lift our chin a little bit, and you only need to pull this bar right below the chin. So a big mistake is people get to here and they start going into the beginning of a muscle up right there, okay? We don't need to be doing that. That's not even working your back at that point, okay? All you need to do is get that bar below the chin. That goes for every type of pull. That goes for regular pull-ups as well. You just need to get the bar right below the chin. Now, lastly, our sixth main functional movement is the horizontal pulling motion, the row motion. This is a very natural motion for most human beings, and you're probably not messing it up, but we should go over it. So the one issue people do with this one is sometimes they will shrug, okay? We don't want to be pulling with our upper back and our traps. We want to be pulling down and back with our elbows and pinching those shoulder blades together, okay? So I'm going to demonstrate a seated cable row with you guys first. Grip comfortably right here. We're going to get a little bit of bend in the knees. We're going to be real tall with a neutral spine, and we're just pulling down and back almost at my belly button right here and just pinching those shoulder blades together. Okay, we just don't want to be shrugging up here. That's the wrong way to do it. You're probably not doing that, but some people are. What I just taught you right there goes for seated cable rows. It could be barbell rows. You could be doing a single arm dumbbell row. Again, we just don't want to be shrugging. We want to be driving our elbow down and back, okay? The body performs lots of small isolation movements, but if you learn these 6 main functional compound movements, you will be able to safely perform almost every single movement in the gym.